There's a very strange ritual that dates back to ancient Egypt, known as the Osiris rising, or the rising of Osiris ritual. You'll see it listed in different names on the internet probably. Osiris, he had a conspirator named Set, and Set wanted to do away with Osiris. So he had him cut up into 14 pieces. Now his body's cut up into 14 pieces. It gets thrown into the Nile River. And Isis, of course, isn't happy about this. Isis tries to collect all the pieces up, and she's only able to find 13 pieces. So she fashions together those 13 pieces to form a more perfect union, which is the framework of our 13 colonies, a more perfect union, based off of the myth of Osiris. Now that's showing Egyptian magic even in the framework and the fabric of our foundation, right? It's not an accident that they brought together 13 colonies to form a more perfect union. That was all by design. It was all manufactured. But what's crazy is that she fashions together these 13 pieces, but guess what piece is missing? His genitals. So what do? They set up this ritual. That's what the obelisk is, by the way. The obelisk represents the 14th piece that they couldn't find. It is literally a phallic symbol. You find it in the Vatican. You find it in ancient Egypt. You find it here in the States. You find it all over cemeteries. You find it all over the Masonic lodges. It represents the phallic, the male sex organ of Osiris. And they believe by setting up this ritual, now it's all a recreation of the original ritual that took place between Isis and the 13 pieces of Osiris, which we break down the full ritual in the film. Tom Horn breaks it down right there in the mall area of D.C., right between the Washington Monument and the Dome of Isis, which is the Capitol building. Now, this is fascinating because the original ritual had to take place between in a courtyard between a dome and an obelisk. Putting those two together like that creates a power generator, literally a generator for this ritual. And the idea is that the seed of Osiris, the seed, is going to come up and emit out of the phallic symbol, which is the Washington Monument, and it's going to take over whoever our president is. Now, this sounds crazy, but think about this. In ancient Egypt, what had happened was that the pharaoh would go through this ritual. He would enter in a man, and he would exit the ritual a god. That was their belief. And they believed that their pharaoh was literally the embodiment of Osiris because of that ritual. They were calling him up out of the underworld. So what we have in America is this same ritual, basically, that the Freemasons believe that they have maintained the proper language and the ritual to a T from the ancient world. They claim to have this still today. At the inauguration of every U.S. president, the president is up there, right there between the dome and the obelisk, right there in that power generator, and right around the corner at the Herodome, which is what they call the Masonic Mecca of the world, literally. The Herodome is this temple, this massive, crazy temple in D.C. They are up there beneath that magic square we were talking about, that magic 666 square, binding the influence and the power of the Word of God. They believe they're binding the power of the Bible while they do this ritual, and they are literally doing the raising of Osiris ritual while the presidential inauguration happens at every election. And they are literally calling on the spirit of Osiris to raise up, or Apollo, however you want to slice it, to come out of the underworld and to possess the president. So the president-elect walks into this ritual a man, exits the ritual a god. This is what the Freemasons believe. Now, people are going to say, well, not every president's a Freemason. Well, most of them have ties to secret societies, but they're not all conscious of the ritual. Doesn't matter. This ritual takes place every inauguration. The Freemasons hold to this. Here's one thing I want to point out about this. The ritual that takes place there, it's been going on now since the beginning, to our knowledge, since the beginning of this nation being set up. They believe that it's going to stick eventually. See, they don't know which president is going to be the final Osiris. Now, they believed in the foundation of this nation that Washington was a type. He was the first Osiris. Technically, every president in their eyes is an Osiris. But the crazy thing is that not every time the ritual is going to stick. They have to keep doing it until it actually sticks, and they get that one that they've been waiting for. This is kind of like when we talk about Babylon working. You know, how many years, was Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard working in the desert trying to get this ritual to stick? They do this at the inauguration of every U.S. president because they believe there is going to come a time in a president that will be the one. He will be the one, and they will go through this ritual when his body lies in state in the Capitol Dome. I believe they're going to do this ritual, and that final raising ritual, that's going to be the one that's going to stick. I don't believe it's going to stick when they're doing it at an inauguration. The real one's going to take place when this Antichrist man dies. They lay him in state in the Capitol building beneath the 72 pentagrams and the apotheosis of George Washington. And that's not it. There's so much more numerology about the Capitol building and the 13 statues and the statutory hall. But I believe that's the real ritual. That's the one where he's going to raise, where the spirit of Osiris, which the Bible talks about this Apollyon coming up from the bottomless pit.
When you visit these
There is something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what he said. Now, prophecy in numerous parts of the Bible refer to a coming day when portals will be opened and spiritual entities are going to pass through and come to the earth. CERN's Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, is the largest single machine in the world, located on the border of France and Switzerland. Its stated purpose is to accelerate subatomic particles by the speed of light and force them to travel in a loop where they then collide. The secular media, rife with non-believers, scientists, atheists, and skeptics of the supernatural, have also all been in a buzz over the global discussion around CERN's seemingly paranormal associations. Although CERN doesn't publicly profess to an agenda in relationship to God or Satan, evil versus good, the spiritual realm as it would be described by Bible believers and so on, recall what some say was just a CERN ritual hoax, which involved video footage depicting what looks like an occult ritual with a group of people all dressed in black cloaks surrounding the statue of the Hindu deity Shiva at CERN, and what appears to be stabbing a woman to death in a human sacrifice. The video ends with the videographer crying out and running away, and of course, when the film became public, experts at CERN said it was all just a joke. But all this does suggest there is something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what he said. And then he went on to draw parallels to the biblical story of Jacob's ladder. Perhaps you remember the dream that the patriarch Jacob had as he was fleeing his brother Esau. Jacob leaves Beersheba. He's on his way to Haran, and he comes to a certain place, and he stays there that night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he puts it under his head. He lays down that place to go to sleep. And as he dreams, it says, behold, there was a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. Then Jacob wakes up from his sleep, and he says, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid. And he says, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven, Genesis 28. Now this ladder, described in the first book of the Bible, describes something like a portal from heaven to earth through which God's angels, interdimensional and spiritual beings from another reality, were traveling. When Jacob wakes up, he refers to the location as a gate, much like today's trendy terms gateway or Stargate. One of CERN's goals is to recreate Jacob's ladder, according to Barker, and to reopen a portal that is said to have existed between Earth, Mars, Venus, and Saturn when the planets were in alignment many years ago. But whether Jacob's ladder really existed, he says, CERN are pretty sure that other dimensions do, and they're making it their goal to ensure that they open the portal for their use. Who knows? Now, Sergio Bertolucci, who is the official director for research and scientific
Okay, remember what he just said. Mars, Venus, and Saturn. Now this article here is also saying that it's Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune, but Mars, Venus, and Saturn are going to be seen in alignment in January, which is now, of course, January 2025. And it's supposed to start from the 21st to the 25th. Now listen to what this video has to say. If we can just skip the commercial.
Be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video.
So I thought the following video was very interesting. This was actually being released by a CERN employee in the United Kingdom. She come out. So I thought the following video was very interesting. This was actually being released by a CERN employee in the United Kingdom. She come out to specifically state that between the days of January 21st through the 25th, there's going to be a major celestial event.
January 21st through the 25th. That's now.
CERN is going to be offline. The machines that deal with particle matters and portal stuff is going to be offline. She wants it to be widely known that CERN is not going to be involved in any of the sightings that we are going to witness between the 21st and the 25th with this celestial event. To me, that's weird and it's a red flag. What is going to be happening? Take a look at what she has to say and tell me what you think.
This video is for the folks in the US, as you might not get to see this in a few days' time. My name is Clara, and I am a particle physicist working at CERN. And between the 21st and the 25th of January, there is going to be a beautiful display of the planets all lining up in the night sky. And I just really want to pass the message on that CERN, with the Large Hadron Collider that was used to discover the Higgs boson, we are off right now. We are not running. So anybody who might have gotten slightly over enthusiastic when the solar eclipse happened in North America, the Large Hadron Collider is not running. We are off. Nothing, anything that you think happens is nothing to do with us. Okay, thanks.
Okay, that was very strange that she said that. And these planets are going to align, as mentioned by Tom Horn in this video, and taken with the fact that the Pope just opened, the Pope just opened the holy doors in the Vatican in December, which was clearly a giant ritual where he opened 5 doors. And given that we just had the inauguration, and we still now have these huge fires going on in California. These are all, I believe those fires are rituals. These are all connecting all the dots and all these individual events that are happening. I think they are very possibly, as this gentleman said here in this video, I think they are opening the doors and possibly at CERN they're doing these rituals in order to open the bottomless pit for Osiris / Apollyon, which is mentioned in Revelation chapter 9, that Apollyon, who is another name for him is Osiris, will be coming through. They do these rituals so that they will come through the portals or gates. And the Pope having, opening the gates or the doors. Those are portals. All these things taken together seem to be one giant ritual to me. And as Tom Horn said in this video, they will be opening. Part of the ritual was to open they alluded to the Jacob's Ladder, opening the gates or portals to heaven, that was their goal, but they wanted to do it open to the bottomless pit. They were going, when the alignment happened, when the planets align, the Mars, Venus, and Saturn planets align, that is when the portal to the bottomless pit will open, according to what Tom Horn is saying. So I'm just linking all these recent events together, the rituals, the planetary alignment, CERN being offline, the inauguration. Well, that didn't help because it was a commercial. Okay. And what this guy was saying about the inauguration, what it really was a ritual. These are pretty interesting things when you take it all into consideration all together. So my question is, are they now opening up the portal to the bottomless pit? That's the question I have. And I know a lot of other people do too, but just thought it was pretty interesting that all these are events happening right now. And they just had the inauguration, so connect the dots.